"You're in the wrong room, Janitor." The voice came from the defense bench, soft enough to seem casual, loud enough for everyone to hear. Laughter flickered. Some heads turned. Some didn't bother hiding their smirks. Derek didn't blink. Stood at the back of the courtroom, holding a slim leather case in one hand. His uniform was dark grey, neat, pressed. The name stitched across his chest read Derek. No tie, no badge. Just a calm presence, built on quiet storms. A younger intern whispered, "Should I get security?" "No," Derek said, voice smooth, steady. "I have the right room." The judge looked up from the bench. "Can I help you?" Derek stepped forward, every stride deliberate. "I'm not here to mop the floor," he said. "I'm here to audit yours." Another ripple of laughter, the defense attorney asked, almost choking. Derek opened the leather case, pulled out a single folder, then a badge, not plastic, not for show. Derek Miles, Federal Salary Auditor, Internal Oversight Division. Silence. The court reporter stopped typing. The same defense attorney who mocked him now stood up, blinking hard. "You're with—" "Yes," Derek cut in. "And I have federal clearance to conduct a salary disparity audit under Title IX employment protection laws. Your names are on my list." A chill passed through the room. Someone cleared their throat. The prosecutor began. "I thought you were—" "A janitor," Derek finished. "I was." He said it without shame, without heat. "I cleaned this building for 4 years. Nights, weekends, holidays. I knew every tile, every crack in the walls, and every time I walked through this room, I listened. Eyes dropped. I listened to how people like me were spoken about. How they were dismissed, laughed at, mispronounced, erased." He laid the folder on the front table. "And I studied. At night, after my shift. Nobody dared interrupt now. I passed my exams. I earned my degree, got my license. And today," he looked directly at the judge, "this courtroom is under federal audit." The judge sat up straighter. Derek took a small breath. Let the silence stretch. The salary records for minority staff show discrepancies that go back 7 years, promotions withheld, pay raises delayed, titles denied. The prosecutor opened her mouth, then stopped. "I didn't come for revenge," Derek said. "I came for truth." The same intern who once whispered about calling security now stared like he was seeing the man for the first time. "People say change takes time," Derek continued. "But sometimes time runs out, and today we're out." The courtroom didn't move. No one laughed now, only Derek did, quietly, not cruel, just knowing. "Funny, isn't it?" he said. "You all saw a name tag, a uniform, and decided that was all I could be." The judge finally spoke. "Mr. Miles, I'd like to extend my respect and ask how we should proceed." Derek nodded, calm. "We begin with transparency." He opened the folder. Pages crisp, numbers marked. One by one, he placed them on the table. No one said a word, because the man they laughed at was now the man with the power to expose them, and he never once raised his voice. Derek slid the first document across the desk. His fingers moved slowly, deliberately, as if the weight of paper could carry the weight of years. "Let's start with you," he said, locking eyes with Assistant District Attorney Cooper. "Hired in 2014, promoted in 2016, again in 2018, and again in 2020, 4 steps up. Each one comes with a 5 to 12% raise." Cooper stiffened. "That's public record," Derek nodded. "It is, but the person next to you, same qualifications, same caseload, even higher conviction rate, hasn't moved a single rung." He turned to the next sheet. Ms. Janelle Thompson, black single mother, JD from Georgetown, hired in 2015, no promotion, no explanation. A murmur. "She's been stuck at the same desk while you moved up 3 times, despite outperforming. You on every metric this court records." Cooper shifted in his seat, his jaw clenched. "I don't handle HR decisions." "No," Derek said. You just benefit from them." The words landed like a dropped gavel. Cooper looked at the judge. "For help." The judge looked away. Derek stepped forward, putting the next file down. "This one's yours, Judge Callahan." The judge blinked. "Excuse me? You've signed off on promotion recommendations for 12 years. 87% of those went to white staff. Of the remaining 13%, not one reached a leadership position." Callahan's face flushed. "Those recommendations go through a review panel." "A panel you chair," Derek said with no shift in tone. "We pulled transcripts, read the language used to deny certain applicants." He turned a page, read out loud, "Lacks polish, too assertive. Cultural differences, may impact team integration." The courtroom sat frozen. "I used to empty your trash," Derek added, eyes narrowing. "Now I audit your words." Silence. Callahan opened his mouth, but no sound came. Derek continued, calm as water. "This isn't about a single insult. It's about a pattern, a system, one where people like me clean floors while people like you erase records." Someone in the back of the room stood up. A young woman, brown-skinned, nervous. She said, voice shaky, "I was passed over last year. I filed a complaint. It disappeared." Derek turned toward her. "You're not alone." More movement now. Another voice. "I was told I wasn't a cultural fit." Whatever that means. The room cracked open quietly, not with shouting, but with people choosing not to stay silent anymore. "I was denied maternity leave during trial prep. I trained someone who got promoted over me. I've been here 9 years and never had an evaluation." Derek didn't smile, but something in him settled. "Now," he said gently, "can we all agree I had the right room?" No one laughed. Cooper sat, small in his chair. The judge tapped his gavel once, soft, unsure, like even he knew the power in the room had changed hands. Derek placed the final set of papers on the desk. "This audit goes federal today. The Department of Labor will review everything. Emails, files, promotion records, pay stubs. We'll know who knew what and when." The courtroom didn't clap, didn't cheer, but they listened, because the man they'd mocked came not with anger, but with truth. And that, it turned out, was louder than any insult. Derek stood alone in the hallway outside the courtroom. The chatter had died down, but echoes still lingered. Half apologies, nervous laughter, phones buzzing with whispers. Then a door creaked. Footsteps. Judge Callahan emerged, his robe unbuttoned, his face drawn. "Mr. Miles," he said. "A moment." Derek didn't move. "Depends on what it's for." The judge stopped 3 feet away, not behind the bench now. "Just a man." "You remember me," he said quietly. "I remember you looked through me," Derek replied. Callahan nodded once. No defense, just the admission hanging in the air. "I didn't expect it to be you," he said. "No one ever does." Callahan rubbed his jaw. "Back when you worked nights, I'd see you, thought you were quiet, polite. You thought I stayed in my place." The judge winced. "Maybe, probably." Silence. Derek turned toward him. "Why did you come out here?" "I don't know," Callahan admitted. "Shame, maybe. That's not mine to fix. I'm not asking you to fix it." Derek waited. Callahan sighed. "There was this night, 5 years ago. You were scrubbing the back hallway outside, on Chambers. I walked past, talking with another judge. You remember that?" Derek's voice was flat. "You called me invisible." Callahan's throat tightened. "I didn't mean it like that. But you said it." Callahan looked down at the floor. "I said it like a joke. I thought you didn't hear." "I hear everything," Derek said, "because I was the one nobody thought was listening." Callahan leaned against the wall. "Older now, smaller. My daughter's in law school," he murmured. "Wants to be a public defender. She talks about justice like it's still possible." "It is," Derek said. "Even for me?" the judge asked. A long pause. "I don't." "No," Derek replied, "but it starts with shutting up long enough to hear the people you used to ignore." Callahan looked at him, really looked this time. "I'm sorry." Derek stared back. Then step aside. Let new voices lead. Callahan gave a nod, almost like a bow, then turned, walked back through the double doors without another word. Derek didn't smile, but for the first time in years, his chest didn't feel like it was caving in. The conference room wasn't big. Beige walls, a flickering ceiling light, a half-used whiteboard, but the chairs were full, not with lawyers, not with judges, with clerks, interns, assistants, paralegals, most of them young, many of them black or brown, all of them tired in a way that doesn't show up in timesheets. Derek stood at the front. No podium, no mic, just his voice. You don't owe this system your silence. Nobody moved. A Latina woman in the corner crossed her arms tight. A young man fiddled with the cord of his badge. Two women shared a glance. No one spoke, but the air was swollen with years of things left unsaid. I know what it's like, Derek continued, to walk through halls where your name is always mispronounced, where your lunch break is questioned, where your talent is praised right before you're asked to stay late and cover someone else's mistake. A quiet murmur, heads nodded. Maybe you've been told to smile more, to be grateful. Maybe you've had meetings where your ideas were echoed by someone whiter, and suddenly they were brilliant. The young man looked up. I used to clean this room, Derek said. And every time I did, I told myself, one day I'll sit in front of them, and they'll listen. He let that breathe. I'm not asking you to fight every battle. I'm asking you not to disappear inside yourself. A voice finally rose from the back. What if it costs us our jobs? Derek looked at her. Then, speak carefully, he said. But speak. Find each other, keep records, share notes. You don't have to scream to start a shift. Sometimes a whisper changes everything. Another voice. But what if they never change? Derek's jaw tightened, then relaxed. They won't, he said, until they're made to. Someone exhaled, as if they'd been holding it in for years. Courage isn't loud, Derek added. Sometimes it's just surviving the day without giving in to the idea that you don't deserve more. The woman in the corner finally spoke. You think you made a difference today? He turned to her. I didn't come here to be believed. I came to be heard. She looked away, but her arms had loosened. A quiet shift passed through the room. Not applause, not praise, but something even harder to earn. Respect. Derek reached for the doorknob. You'll be tested after today. Eyes on you, doubts in your inbox. But when that happens, remember this. They laughed when I walked in. He opened the door. They listened when I walked out. The hallway outside the courthouse was different now. Reporters leaned over velvet ropes, cameras clicking in controlled bursts. Questions flew like flies, polite on the surface, pointed beneath. Mr. Miles, can we get a statement? Sir, did you expect the courtroom to react that way? Do you believe race played a role in the pay disparity? Derek didn't stop. He moved through them like a man walking through fog, aware, unfazed. Inside the glass doors, a man in a tailored navy suit waited. Graying hair, gold watch, smiled like he practiced it. Mr. Miles, he greeted, voice smooth as silk. I'm Greg Patterson, Department Liaison for Media Coordination. Mind if we step inside? Derek didn't answer, just walked into the private conference room. Patterson followed, still smiling. Impressive handling in court, he began, closing the door. Truly powerful. You've certainly stirred conversation. Derek stayed silent. Patterson clasped his hands. That's what we're here for, right? Accountability, progress, the right kind of change. Derek turned his head. The right kind, Patterson chuckled. Well, measured, balanced, controlled narrative, you understand. We wouldn't want the public to misinterpret your audit as hostile. Derek stared. You think truth is hostile? Patterson's smile thinned. Of course not. But messaging matters. Optics, timing. If we push too hard, it creates resistance. The system slows down. Derek stepped forward. Not aggressive, just closer. You're not worried about resistance, he said. You're worried about exposure. Mister. Miles, you want me to soften, smile for the cameras, say it's all being resolved. Patterson lifted a hand. I'm just suggesting you don't become the story. Derek's voice dropped. I was already the story when I cleaned toilets in a suit so I could make night classes. Patterson's eyes flicked, unsure now. I didn't ask for attention, Derek said, but I'm not dodging it either. If discomfort is what it takes to break silence, so be it. He picked up his briefcase. You can shape the press release however you want. I'll shape the truth. Patterson said nothing. As Derek reached the door, he stopped. You know why they laughed? Patterson blinked. Why? Because they believed the story they wrote for me. And for once, someone rewrote it. He walked out without shaking hands. No cameras in the hallway now. The office was quiet when Derek returned to his desk. No welcome signs. No confetti, just a cup of coffee, cold from sitting out too long. A sticky note on his monitor read, "Call from DC." Said it can wait. He didn't answer right away. He just sat. Let the silence settle in. Outside his glass door, the staff walked differently today. Straighter spines, fewer glances over the shoulder, more nods that held eye contact just a second longer. It wasn't celebration. It was something better, recognition, a soft knock. The door opened halfway. It was Janelle, hair tied back, badge still clipped awkwardly to her pocket. I didn't know if you were taking visitors, she said. Derek gestured gently. Door's not locked. She stepped inside, closed it behind her. I wanted to say thank you, she said. He nodded. You don't have to. I do, she replied. You spoke the words I was too scared to say out loud. You were never the one who needed fixing, Derek said. Just the system around you. Her voice cracked. They offered me a new title this morning, with back pay. You accept it? I said I'd think about it. Derek looked up. Why? Because part of me wonders if they're doing it to shut me up, not lift me up. He leaned back in his chair. Maybe they are, he said. But sometimes you don't accept the title for them. You accept it for every person who never got one. She smiled bittersweet. You always talk like you're writing a book. I've just had a long time to listen. A pause. Janelle looked down. When I started here, I used to pass you in the hall. I never spoke. I remember. I thought maybe if I kept my head down, they'd promote me faster. They didn't. No, she whispered. They didn't. She stood straighter. But now I don't care who hears me. Derek smiled, small, quiet. That's how it starts. She walked to the door but turned before leaving. You're not invisible anymore. I never was, Derek said. They just didn't look. The door closed behind her. Derek turned to the window. Across the street, reporters still lingered. Students passed by in uniforms. A janitor emptied a trash bin near the courthouse steps. Derek watched him for a while, not in pity, not in nostalgia, in respect, because he knew what it meant to clean up after other people's mess and still walk with your head up. His phone buzzed again. He finally answered. Miles, he said. A voice on the other end, female, strong. From DC, you made headlines. I didn't mean to. Good, she replied. That's how we know it's real. We'd like to discuss a wider audit, national scale. Derek didn't answer right away. I'll think about it, he said. The voice paused. We need someone who won't flinch when power laughs. I've got practice, she chuckled. I'll call you Monday. He hung up. The room was still. The world outside moved on. But inside this small office, one thing had changed. He wasn't just a former janitor anymore. He was a man who entered a room they tried to laugh him out of and left with every head bowed in silence, not because he yelled, not because he begged, because he told the truth, and stayed standing. It's the sound. of polished shoes against the marble floor, steady, clear, and unbothered.